All right, so this is going to be a video on the Tommy built T7. This is not going to be a history or a informational video on the MP7 specifically. I just wanted to make a video on my T7 and my ownership of it for about, I don't know, since June of 2024. I've been following this since Tommy first talked about it, which I believe was in 2018 or so, and eagerly wanting one of these. MP7 is one of those guns of mine where I've always wanted one. Is it the best gun for everything? Is it better than a 9mm PCC? By no means no, but the form factor in this guy is hard to beat. It really is. So yeah, I wanted it because it is cool. Sue me. All right. So when these guys came out, there is a Facebook group and a lot of information was being spread there initially, and I will go in that later, but there was a date, there was a time, it was a huge mess. There was hundreds of thousands of people that were trying to get this. There was, I guess, 50,000 people that had this in their cart. This was a hot item, very, very hot item, and I was able to get one. Then it took forever to ship. That's fine. I don't care. Got mine. You shoot it, or I guess say try to shoot it. This gun has a lot of issues, a lot of teething issues, and it made some people very mad, infuriated. They go online and they go to the Facebook group. I'll start with HK Pro. They would go to HK Pro, which is a HK specific website, forum, everything HK, right? The admins would ban you if you had any issues and you voiced up about it, as they were saying that you were trying to diss Tommy. All right. I was one of the first people to get a Tommy G36 clone. It was a G36C. When they first came out, his whole US built one was an SL8 clone or SL8 conversion, whatever. It was a 100% US clone. And Tommy's a great guy, really is. He has a small business and he makes these things that HK will not make because they can't import them here because of various things. And I love that gun. It was very cool. I have since sold it. I wish I didn't, but I did. And, the gun didn't really have that many issues, but some other people did. Mine didn't have issues. Okay, so we come here to the T7. So if you have an issue on HK Pro, they will ban you. It's very authoritarian, very German. Then the Facebook group. You have the owner of that Facebook group. I'm not going to say his name, but other videos talk about him. Openly mocking customers, just being incredibly rude, outright mean. If you have any issue about the gun, any issue about how this whole thing has happened, they ban you without any remorse. And still to this day, if you say anything bad, the guy will ban you. Not very cool. I don't think that's very open for a platform where you're paying $3,500 at the very base for it, and then you have to pay additional $550 for that, and then if you want the suppressor, okay, that's about $1,000. These magazines are over $100. When the gun first came out, and beforehand the magazines were, people were paying $200 plus for these magazines, 40 rounders at least. So this is a very expensive gun. This is a gun where you have to have a lot of money into it to pay to play. And as you can understand, if you pay this much money for a gun and it doesn't work out of the box, where Tommy says, hey, if you use horny black ammo, that's the ammo I tested with, and if you use that ammo, it'll work. And then the person gets the gun, shoots the ammo, and I kid you not, of the 200 rounds that you shoot with that ammo, 75% of them do not work. You get a failure to feed, failure to extract, some sort of great malfunction, it's annoying. You get really pissed off. A lot of people have. And so that's why I'm making this video. Okay. So my gun specific, again, when I heard about the project being made, I went and bought some ammo. At the time, 4.6 ammo was very cheap. It was about 23 cents a round. Now it's gotten a little bit more expensive. Now I don't recall what it is off the top of my head, but I think it's around 50 cents a round, which is kind of pricey, but sadly nowadays that's kind of average for ammo with everything going on in the world. So yeah, and what I got was Schmidt & Bender ammo. Now, I later found out when I went to go shoot this thing for the first time, it was steel core ammo, so that kind of limited me to ranges, sadly. But that ammo worked very well in this gun. I have since tested it with Horny Black. I have tested it with Fiocchi ammo. Those rounds have given me a little bit of trouble, even with the can being used. The Fiocchi ammo is easily the most common 4.6 ammo at the time, at least at the time this video being made. You can get it very easily, so much so that actually a local gun store to me has some, but they want arm and leg for it. So that is the most common ammo to get. Horny Black ammo, guys, it is super expensive. There's no real reason to buy that ammo, and it's like a polymer tip to 4.6. You're kind of defeating the purpose of that round. For this gun, this is a penetrating round, and it's just extremely expensive. It's ridiculously expensive. You're talking like 6.5 Creedmoor prices for a round for this. Okay, it's not very feasible. So I have when I first got this gun, I had a little over 1,000 rounds of the Schmidt & Bender, or not Schmidt, I'm sorry. Stellar and Biot or whatever. I'm just going to say S&B ammo, not Schmidt Bender. I apologize. S&B ammo ran pretty well. The ammo did at least, but the gun gave me some issues. So right off the bat, when I bought this gun, I bought the Tommy built metal backplate. I think Tommy or whoever hand drilled them. I'll try to insert a picture here, but the pins were very loose. So much so you could just go like that and pop them out. And a lot of people have this issue, and I brought attention online to it. And I was told that it's a pin issue, and then I was told that I have no idea how pins work for HK guns. Okay, well, I've had MP5s, I have a G3. I know how pins work for HK guns. It's part and parcel of HK guns. So that was kind of, I didn't take that very nicely, because basically the one guy was saying I'm stupid. So you post pictures of it, and the hole is very loose. It looks like it was dremeled out. And they say it's a pin issue. And this comes to another thing with this, is there's like a cult following with Tommy, which is fine. I understand that. There's a lot of HK people where they know that the only way they'll get an HK gun, like an MP7 and G36, or like a converted UMP, is from Tommy. I get that. So they really like him. But guys, I really like him too, but that doesn't mean I'm just gonna, bend over when the gun is jacked up. I'm paying good money for this gun. I want a good product. I want to shoot this thing. I want to use it. So it was really annoying. So what I had to do was I bought a German backplate. It was stripped, and then I put the parts, the Tommy built stock release, and then I forget the name of that, in there, and I used the pins that I got from Tommy built, and now this thing is very tight. It's how a HK gun should be with the pins. It's going to retain itself in there. It's not going to just fall out after shooting. And that is very important, because with this gun, if you, oh man, hold on. Never mind. Okay. If you disassemble this gun and the pins fall out while you're shooting, how the trigger system works in this gun is like a little pack right here. And when you pull this thing out, it will trip the sear, and it will let go of the hammer. so it could fire the gun out of battery. That's huge. I had no idea that MP7s could do that. That's a problem. It's not just a Tommy built TP7 problem, it's an MP7 problem. So if you have your pins falling out, okay, when you're shooting, that might result in a round being shot that you didn't want to be shot. Okay, that's not good. That's a safety issue. All right, so I replaced it with that. Everything's great. Some people have some issue where their stocks will collapse on them. Mine, okay, it doesn't have that, thankfully, and I hope it never has that. So now we move on to the next issue, and that is on this guy. All right, there's a little pin right here. It fell out. By the grace of God, it fell out in my little carrying bag I had for this. And the spring, all right, the spring right there, and this metal piece were in the bag. That's a little roll pin though. And thankfully I have roll pins in my home, so I was able to put one in there that's actually like a spec one where it's tight. The one that came with it was just loose. It was like going like that. That's another issue. Okay. Biggest issue I had with this gun. All right. When you put a magazine in this, it's got a lot of play. It's got a lot of play right there. And he's kind of put like a screw here where you can tighten it or make it a little loose so it's more tight. But what results in the mag moving around, it goes like this, but it also is like this. When you're shooting this gun, if you're not benched, you're running around shooting this gun, using it like how it should be, the magazine's gonna move around, especially when it's heavier, okay? So what the issue was, when it was stripping around, the first round's here, and the second round's gonna be stripped is down here. The first round was stripped fine. The second round, it would result in a failure to feed. It would make the cartridge unusable because then the head of the bullet would hit the chamber, or not the chamber, like the teeth there, and then like go in, shrink, right? So that's money down the drain. Okay, so how I fixed that, had to go in there and I had to basically polish the chambers or the feed ramp, like a 1911 or something. That took a couple hours, a lot of racking the gun, seeing it, racking it slowly, racking it crazy fast. Finally worked. So I had to put a lot of time into that, and now I can say after putting like 440 rounds or so through this gun, I don't really have issues with it anymore. The first like 140 rounds were nothing but headaches, problems, a terrible time. Now it's a lot better, thankfully. Okay, so that might be something that you have to deal with. He also has extractor issues with these guns. I don't have that issue, not yet at least. So there's that. A big thing with these guys, polymer guns, G36, UMP, MP7, you really have to lube these up. It's not like metal where it can slide. It slides more easier. You have polymer spots on here. You have to use lube. So when you buy one of these guns, the first thing you want to do is lube the heck out of it, like excessive amount. So basically, when the gun is operating, it makes it, I don't know, you can see some marks in there, but it gives you some marks from operation where hopefully it won't wear in anymore, and that's where it is. And then after that, it's fine. But, you really have to do that. And I say all these things with operation, how to, clean it, how to lube it. There was no user manual. And I know, okay, you don't really need a user manual for guns. Guys, this is a very specific gun. There's only one of this type of gun, the MP7. having some sort of user manual where it's like, hey, if you disassemble this gun and you don't hold in that trigger pack when you're pulling the bolt out, stripping the bolt out, it's going to let go of the hammer. That would be something nice to know. It's not something where I'm doing it for the first time. I'm like, oh shit, why did I do that? Okay, so I feel like that's something important that you might want to disclose to your customers. But whatever. Another thing, you can see this is a Strike Industries top rail. I don't know why Strike Industries makes a top rail for the MP7, but they do. The top rail that came from my gun would not accept a ScalarWorks mount. It would not, and then an EXPS, it would be canted. It was canted like that, off top rail. I have no idea why. I asked this question in the group. Tommy told me that he cloned the top rail off an MP7, a real MP7. So if it can't work on the Tommy built gun, then it can't work on an MP7. Okay, that's just not true. Obviously, there's EXPSs being used on these guns. All right, these guns are still in active service with JSOC and some elements of the Rangers, and then other nations as well. This is a commonly used gun in the special forces type of world, and in some law enforcement agencies in the United States. LAPD uses these. I digress. That I know they can take this stuff. I don't know why the top rail wasn't in spec to be 1913 regular. You know, you get some guns like that where it's either really tight or kind of loose. In some mounts, you can't use them. Okay, the ScalarWorks one, there's no reason why it couldn't be used. So I had to buy a Strike Industries top rail. It was like $100 or so. It has these built-in iron sights. I don't use them. They're kind of, janky, but it's a really good top rail. It's nice, and I have no issues with that. And then we go into the B&T suppressor. I've heard some people have issues with the B&T suppressor, but it seems like it's mostly the newer style collar. This is the older style collar, and all it does is it index. There's a little, it kind of moves like this, and then this part is just on there. It's a pretty good mount. You can quickly take it on and off. So the old style for me has never given me any issues. It's it's very tight. It doesn't move. I've heard the new one though is kind of has issues. So if you do have the new style suppressor collar, you can't get it tight all the way and it's moving around, do not shoot it. You don't want to destroy these suppressors. It's just bad juju. But then that leads me into the suppressor for this gun. How this gun is, you can see right there, this is the gas block, this is the bolt. Kind of works like a Scar 17, if you know how a Scar 17 is. And these guys, when they were made, H&K, at the time, their suppressor manufacturer was B&T. And they authorized B&T to make a MP7 specific suppressor. This is what it is. There's two versions. There's this version and a smaller version. And one other company, I think it was Gemtech. And the Gemtech one's kind of a kludge. It's big. Looks like a box. But they were made around the gun, made solely for this gun and its operating system. There are companies that have mounts for this gun. Surefire, AAC, Silencer Co. And I'm thinking of one other. I think I'm missing one other one, but there's also companies now, since this gun has come out, the T7, where they've made a hub mount for the threads on this guy, because it's, of course, a unique thread. Of course, it's HK. They're going to do their own threads. It's great. But the issue come with that is, if you're using a can with high back pressure, it can damage the system. And that's been brought up recently. I don't know how many rounds it takes for that to happen. When I first heard this was happening, I bought an RC, like the Surefire suppressor mount. I sold it before I got the gun, and I was able to get a B&T cam, which are kind of hard to get. They're in high demand. So I don't have that issue, but other people, you just got to be aware of that because it could happen. You could potentially break this gun, and you don't want that to happen. And I hope no one has to experience that. But yeah, so the core takeaways with this gun is, would I trust my life with this gun? No, I wouldn't. Is it a fun range toy? When it works, it's awesome. It's great. Everyone's like, oh, is that an MP7? Da, 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 da. If you really care about that, this is the perfect gun for you. This is the gun for you to show off at the range and be like, I got a semi-automatic MP7. When it works, it's great. It's an awesome gun. Recoil's not that bad. It's actually kind of quiet with a B&T suppressor, which is nice. The parts are out there. They're kind of expensive. Magazines are more accessible now, so they're not too bad compared to what they were, past like 6 months ago. I think there's some teething issues with this gun, which is completely normal. And I wouldn't be making a video of going over my issues with this gun if I feel like Tommy Built Tactical, the people that run that Facebook group, the people that follow Tom like a cult following, were more nicer, kinder, more respectful to people, where they are spending $4,000 in this configuration minus the parts, suppressor, all that jazz for a gun. That's a good amount of money, especially nowadays in Joe's economy. I feel like you want to have some respect for these people that buy your gun. I feel like that didn't really happen, and I still feel like that to this day, where if you have an issue, you kind of get attacked, not just by Tom or the guy that runs that Facebook page, but get attacked by random people that just like completely say, oh, that's not true, or oh, it's a teething issue, you just got to get over it. Well, it's not really a teething issue when you've sunk 200 plus rounds of very expensive ammo into this gun, and it's like a bolt action rifle. It's like shooting a Car 98 or something like that, because you're every shot, all right, boom, 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 okay. It's a great malfunction trainer, but that's not what this gun should be. So would I say spend the money on one of these guns right now? No. Would I change my purchase and not buy this gun? No. I really wanted this gun, and I was able to work past the issues and fix it. But that's me, because I have a lot of, I really wanted the gun, so I just deal with it. I just suck it up and I deal with it, and I did it. Tom is good in the fact where if you do have a serious issue, you can send the gun to him and he will fix it. But I see some posts where people are sending their gun back 3, 4, 5 times, and the issue still really hasn't been fixed. Or he says, hey, I tested it with this specific ammo, and then the customer gets the gun back and shoots it with that specific ammo, and it doesn't work. I think that's kind of infuriating. I couldn't imagine being in those people's shoes, but that's where they're at now. And as of this video, H&K USA is starting to become more of a thing. They're going to come out with products that are made wholly in the United States. And they came out with a press release saying that, yes, they are going to come out with a MP7 that is made in the United States and a G36 sometime post-2025. Okay, so seeing as though I've been waiting for this gun since 2018 and I got it in June, would I wait another year and a half or so for the HK real thing? Sure, why not? It's not like there's really any other thing on the market besides the Tommy Built. So when the real gun comes out, then I'd probably sell this and get that. And that's what I would advise people to do. In the meantime, get like an MP5, get the B&T TP9, get something like that if you really want that itch. Get a freaking Kel-Tec. There's a guy that makes a conversion for Kel-Tecs that look like an MP7. It shoots 22. It's cheap. It, for some people might scratch the itch. For other people, it won't. But it's just, you're sinking a lot of money in this gun, and there's issues with it, and it's annoying. It's annoying, especially nowadays where your dollar isn't really worth as much it was, God, like 4 years ago or more. And $3,500 for a lot of people nowadays is a lot of money. So that is my review. Issues with this gun. I kind of post on my Instagram story when I shoot more rounds for this gun, but since I fixed those issues, it is working for me perfectly fine. That is also with me lubing this gun. You have to lube your guns. You have to clean your guns. You should clean and lube your guns regardless, but with this guy, you have to keep on it. And yeah, so I hope that in the future I can make another one of these videos and say I'm still all good. And hope I do that. So that's all of this gun. That is the Tommy T7 review. Thank you very much.